This is Co-op HD1 HD3 Hornsby, radio for people, not for profit. Welcome to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Each week, we explore how your library is more than books. The library is knowledge, technology, and inspiration for our community. Hello and welcome. I'm Kanya Lyons, and today we're going to have a conversation with Library Facility Project Coordinator Heidi C. And then later in the show, we're going to have a visit from Ricardo Parra, who is a Chilean songwriter, guitarist, and arranger, who is going to perform live here in the studio. And he'll also be performing at the library, and we'll give you some information about that later on. So let's start out with Heidi. Welcome, Heidi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for coming. Yeah. So we were talking at work like a couple of weeks ago, and there's so much interesting stuff I didn't know about you and your background. So I understand your family owned several restaurants in the Rice University area of Houston after immigrating from Hong Kong. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like to bridge two cultures at an early age?
Yeah, that was kind of an interesting time. At the time, there weren't a lot of Asians in Houston, let alone in central Houston area. So I did grow up there in the Rice University area. We had a restaurant. It was one of the first Chinese restaurants in Houston. And so I just remember in high school and throughout school that my teachers always said, "What about those coupons?" to go to your restaurants, because it was sort of a treat since, not everybody went out to eat back then. So yeah, it was an interesting time.
Cool. And then you were telling us, I guess before we get into that, so how did you end up coming to Austin after Houston?
Well, I grew up in Houston, and when I graduated from high school, I wanted to go to UT. I also wanted to get away from mom and dad, of course, just like anybody else. I really adopted them and became Americanized, and it's like, no more mom and dad, I'm taking off. And my older sister first had enrolled in UT, and so I thought, well, that's kind of a natural progression. I'll just follow my older sister, and that's how I ended up in Austin after graduation. I went back to Houston for a little bit to work, but then I really came back when I got a job offer, and this is really where I wanted to be. So yeah, here I am, and working for the library department after all those years.
I can't wait to talk more about that, but I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned to me before this that you actually learned English by reading library books when you were a kid. Is that true?
Yes. When I came here when I was little, it was in the 70s. I was only like 7 years old. And one of the things is I came cold. No, even though I was actually born in Hong Kong, so they did teach English as a second language, but I was really small. So I learned words that you would never really use, like torch or a flashlight, and then handkerchiefs. Nobody used those words here in America. So it was a whole new frontier. So that first year, I was tutored by actually fellow students in second grade. And they would take me out. It was actually a treat for those kids. And we would sit out in the hallways and read books. And that's how I progressively learned how to speak and learn English and read. And that's where my fondness for books grew from that. And in about a summer, I learned how to speak English fluently. So, but it can happen when you're that young.
That's incredibly impressive. Just hearing that story it was remarkable. Do you think that sort of childhood connection to the library affects your relationship with the library, to this day?
Absolutely. I think that when you read, when you have that curiosity, it takes you to places that you don't get to go, physically go. And I've kind of instilled that in my son, Alex, and he has this profound fondness for reading. And I mean, I just remember when he was little and he wanted for me to buy an author's book, and then he would just take the book and just sniff it and inhale the newness of a book. And I'm really grateful that he's also adopted the same fondness I have for reading at a very young age.
That's incredible. How old is your son?
He is 17, so he is senior and coming up next year. So it's college time for him. So I'm really excited for him and a little bit scared because will probably go away. He's talking about going away just like I did when I was his age.
We all want to get away, yeah.
Yes.
Well, and there's a high correlation with success later in life and kids who learn to read early or spend a lot of time reading as children.
Right.
So that's really great. So if you're just joining us, you're listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. And today we're talking to Heidi C., Library Facility Project Coordinator. And let's talk a little bit about that, actually. What does Library Building Improvement Coordinator actually mean?
Well, I can tell you what I do because, I was trained as an architect and an interior designer. And I like to kind of think of it, the easiest way to think about that is really like a building doctor. And then when I'm doing performing renovation, that's like a plastic surgeon. So, and so we go in and we do some diagnostics if there's a problem when we renovate. But my background is in the design world, so I know how the building is put together. And so it makes it a little bit easy to being on the design front of things to make sure it's built correctly. And then therefore we build it so that we can maintain it. And, and spaces are very inspiring. It's inspiring for reading. It's inspiring for doing other things, activities. And library really has evolved in the last, 10 years because of the digital age. And so being part of that is huge, to be in the frontier of making spaces and actually executing those spaces for people to inspire them to do whatever their imagination would want to do. And with this new central library, that's just sort of a testimony to everything that I've learned and practiced. So it's a great way, and it's a legacy project. I'm very glad that I'm able to do that right now in this point of my career.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk a lot more about what you do and the new Central Library after these brief announcements. We are going to listen to reference librarian Blair Parsons, and he's going to give us a taste of some upcoming community events at the library. And we're going to hear a brief announcement from one of our co-op underwriters. We'll be back after the announcements.
Support comes from East Side Pies, local pizza with local ingredients. 3 locations around Austin: East Side off Rosewood, Airport and 53rd, and Anderson Lane. Take out or eat in. Online ordering now available at eastsidepies.com.
My name is Blair Parsons, and I'm a reference librarian at the Falk Central Library. Each week, I highlight a few programs for adults that are happening around the Austin Public Library. Our full list of programs may be found on the library's events calendar. Chilean guitarist Ricardo Parra will perform 2 concerts at the Austin Public Library this week. The first concert begins at 11:30 a.m. Friday, June 23rd at the Falk Central Library, and the Menchaca Road Branch Library will host the second concert Saturday, June 24th at 3 o'clock. Ricardo's music moves through various styles including folk, trova, bossa nova, and Celtic. Sunday, June 25th, the Falk Central Library will host the Austin Lace Makers Guild for Making Lace, a lace-making demonstration followed by a short program about the history of lace and how to get involved in lace making. The demonstration begins at 2 o'clock, followed by the program at 3 o'clock, Sunday, June 25th, at the Falk Central Library.
That was reference librarian Blair Parsons telling us about some events at a few of the libraries around town. There are many, many more events. Those are all available at library.austintexas.gov. And remember, the library is not just for kids, people. It's for adults, too. So for those of you who are just joining us, this is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and KOOP.org. And we're getting back to our conversation with Heidi C., who is a Library Facility Project Coordinator at the Austin Public Library. Heidi, hi.
Hi.
So you started to tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, and you mentioned that you have a background in design and architecture. Can you talk briefly about like your career kind of before you came to the library, what you did?
Well, I was always with the private sector as a consultant or with an architecture firm. And then I slowly went into facilities. But when I was in the private sector, we did, the firm I was with, an architecture firm, we did 4 branch libraries at the time. And so that is my connection with the library department. I, back in the 1990s, designed, and they were built 4 branch libraries. And so it's sort of this cycle of coming back around and saying, I'm trying to finish my career ending with libraries, because I thought that, for one thing, it was very rewarding in that I did a lot of buildings that come and go and tenant finish outs and where people move in and they move out, but it's nothing like building a library that is so part of the community. We have branch libraries all throughout Austin. And I've renovated libraries where the patrons come up to me on grand opening day and they said, you brought my girlfriend back, you know, and after a renovation. So it's really this sense of really contributing to the community, leaving a legacy for my son and any of my future descendants. So it's knowing that I contribute to the society and to the community is very rewarding in that sense.
Absolutely. So the 4 libraries that you mentioned that you worked on, prior to actually working for the library, when you were working on libraries, was that here in Austin?
Yes, it's the Yarborough branch, it's the Oak Hill branch, it's the Millwood branch, and also Cepeda. And at the time, Cepeda was called Zaragoza.
Right.
But what's really kind of interesting is that now we've just gone through another bond election for these in renovating these branches. So I'm kind of doing some of them on the second round. So it's really kind of seeing your children grow, and they grow bigger and older, and they're aging. That's what it's like for me. So
it's kind of like your son going off to college.
Exactly. Those milestones that after 20 years, we need a little bit of a facelift again. So yes.
Oh, that's great. Well, so we have another big project on the horizon at the Austin Public Library. The new Central Library, which is going to replace the Fox Central Library. And you've been working on that project from the beginning, pretty much.
Yes. Yes, we're building a 200,000 square foot library in the middle of downtown.
Yes.
Where everyone can go into this building and they don't have to own $1 million condo to get this great view of the city and the Lady Bird Lake. I'm so glad to be able to bring this to the citizens of Austin. But yes, it's not open yet, but I can tell you just the feel and the ambiance and the inspiration of imagination in this building. I think everybody is going to be so pleased when we are able to open it back, when we are able to open the doors. It will probably be a LEED Platinum building. That's what we're tracking right now.
What does LEED mean? Can you explain that?
Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So it's very sustainable. And because we were such a big part, the city was such a big part in design and giving input, we not only designed it to be sustainable, but we designed it so that it was able to be maintained. And it is supposed to be a 100-year building, and we really fully believe that it's going to do that and perform for us. But it's got a PV array on the roof, renewable energy. It's got a rainwater harvesting system that collects over 360,000 gallons of water for irrigation. I mean, daylight harvesting, the best lighting to read by when you're in a library. A lot of other amenities, programmatically wise, like a worker's, like a tech shop even within the building. Just
So
a lot
exciting.
of things, cooking demonstration area, just, things that are not what you really consider, but we really have morphed as a library system. We're just not building quiet little boxes that are containers for books.
Right.
This is an active community area for all ages.
Yeah, and not to talk smack about the current Fox Central Library, but it's like night and day. But
The contrast, yes.
yeah, the building that was built in '79
Yes.
versus the building that is going to open later this year. I mean,
Right.
it's so incredible. Bright, open spaces. There's going to be a cafe. There's a rooftop garden with a oak tree, and then, like you mentioned, all the sustainable features. It's so inspiring for our community to have this resource.
Yes.
Wow. Well, so are there any other little like hidden things about the new Central Library that we didn't mention, that little hidden gems? I guess there's going to be a tech petting zoo, right, where people can try out new technology.
That's right. We're agnostic. So we don't believe in just iPads, and there's going to be multiple types of devices that you can touch and feel before you go check it out. So we'll have these mobile vending machines so that it authenticates. You can check it out with your library card. You don't have to wait around for the librarians to clean the drives from the last person that used it. You can go and grab your mobile device of your choice and go sit in a little nook somewhere. And I believe that all of us who've been involved in the building, we have already our nooks that we want to retire at, that would overlook the lake or overlook the Shoal Creek, and also just grab that coffee from that cafe that will be built there. And the other thing that we have in the building is also a bike corral. So you can arrive by bike or even boat if you want.
That is incredible. I can't wait. Yeah, we're going to be right on the hike and bike trail. Well, so that we're out of time. I wish we could talk more, but we'll just have to have you back on the show another time, Heidi.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was Heidi C., who is the Library Facility Project Coordinator for the Austin Public Library. And so we are not done with the show. Right after this, we're going to introduce Ricardo Parra, and he's going to play some guitar. He's a Chilean guitarist, and he's going to perform 2 shows at the Austin Public Library this week on Friday and Saturday. We'll give you the details about that in a little bit. But first, if there are any parents looking for fun things to do with their kids, we've got you covered at the library. Youth librarians Ann Minner and Michael Harley are going to tell us what Austin Public Library is planning this summer.
This is Ann Minner, Youth Librarian at the Old Quarry Branch. I get to highlight some information for children this week. We are thrilled to present Camp Bluebonnet this year. Youth librarians at the Manchac Branch, the Twin Oaks Branch, and the Old Quarry Branch will host these camps, read a different Bluebonnet nominee each week for 5 weeks, and provide a related activity for fun. Each camp session lasts about an hour. Every year, 20 books are chosen as the Texas Bluebonnet Award Master List by a committee made up of teachers and librarians from across Texas. After reading at least 5 of the books, students have the opportunity to vote for their favorite title at school or at the public library during the month of January. The author of the book receiving the most votes statewide is declared the winner of the Texas Bluebonnet Award. Each branch of the Austin Public Library has a collection of the latest Bluebonnet Award nominees. Details about Camp Bluebonnet are at library.austintexas.gov.
Hey there, Austin. Teen Program Specialist Michael Harley from the Downtown Falk Central Library here with a rundown of the teen and tween events happening across the Austin Public Library system this week. Shaping Spaces workshops continue with special teen events covering various art mediums and techniques. Shaping Spaces will take place on Thursday, June 22nd from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Gamers are battling their way through the Super Smash Bros. Tournament on the way to the championship final. This week, players of all ages can put on their digital boxing gloves at the Twin Oaks Library on Saturday, June 24th at 2 p.m. And finally, Latinitas and Google Fiber present Teen Chicos. Participants ages 9 to 14 can explore storytelling through technology with virtual reality, 3D printing, and more. Teen Chicos will be held at the Ruiz branch all week long at the same time, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., starting Monday, June 26th. More details for these and additional library programs can be found at library.austintexas.gov/events. And for more information on our summer reading program, including how to read and win books, austinsummerreading.org is the gateway to all of our exciting summer reading programming for all ages.
You're listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show on Co-op 91.7 FM and KOOP.org. Radio for people, not for profit.
The Texas Talking Book Program provides digital audio, large print, and braille books and magazines to Texans who cannot read standard print due to qualifying visual, physical, or reading disabilities. Reader advisors are on hand to help navigate patrons through thousands of titles available for download to our free digital audio player. To see if you qualify or for more information, visit www.texastalkingbooks.org.
Welcome back to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. And our final special guest today is Ricardo Parra, who is a songwriter, a guitarist, and arranger from Chile. And he will be performing his primarily original compositions and music from Chile, as well as some English folk music, this Friday, June 23rd at 11:30 at the Fox Central Library, and Saturday, June 24th, this Saturday, from 3 to 4 p.m. at the Manchaca Road branch. And it is open to the public. So welcome, Ricardo.
Thank you for the invitation. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We're so happy that you're here. So what song are you going to play for us today?
I'm going to play a song titled Con la dulzura de tu niñez, but it can be translated like with the sweetness of your childhood. It's a song try to encourage people who is passing for difficult times, who feel alone or sad.
Oh, that's beautiful. I can't wait to hear it.
Tal vez no esperes que algo pueda renacer de las cenizas que el tiempo en tu vida dejó. Puede te sientas como un viejo jardín donde reina el otoño y en un frío rincón. Pero no olvides que aún puedes cantar con la dulzura de tu niñez. Quizás no esperes más que un gris porvenir de mañanas rotas y calles sin razón. Puede no creas en un dulce abrazo, porque la noche te quita toda la ilusión. Pero no olvides que aún puedes cantar con la dulzura de tu niñez. Tal vez y piensas que es demasiada soledad la que enfría tu vida y deja sin razón. Pero no olvides que aún puedes cantar con la dulzura de tu niñez y vivir y querer compartir con verdad, ser feliz, abrazar y amar.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much. So is that one of your original compositions?
Yes, it's my own song.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Do we have time for one more?
Yes, okay. I'm gonna play a song titled Sonreír, can be translated like a smile. It's about somebody who is taking a walk, and while he's walking, say hello to the cats or dogs or children. And when feels sorrow, he look to the gardens in the houses, look to the flowers, and he think that they are smiling.
Okay, we're going to just hear a little sample and then we're going to run out of time. So.
Dulces anhelos colgando de nubes, te dejas llevar. Te veo cantando aún por la calle en tardes de otoño que dulces se van. Y si la sombra de un viejo dolor roba sonrisas a tu corazón, respira hondo y verás en el jardín a las flores sonreír. Vas saludando a gatos y perros y también a niños que te ven pasar, y te detienes a oler las flores, sus frescos aromas endulzan tu andar. Y si la sombra de un viejo dolor roba sonrisas a tu corazón, respira hondo y verás en el jardín a las flores sonreír.
Time we have today. So you can catch Ricardo on Friday at 11:30 at the Fox Central Library, or Saturday from 3 to 4 at the Manchaca Road branch. Thanks to Heidi Say and Ricardo Parra for joining us. Next week, librarian Jorge Jarada will be here to talk about the Rees branch. Goodbye. Thanks for listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Special thanks to our producer, DJ Harris, and to the musicians who composed and performed our original theme song: Andrew Noble on violin, Kirk Duvall on guitar, and Mike Wheat on percussion. And thanks to you, our listeners. Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, airs Wednesday afternoons at 2:30 on Co-op 91.7 FM and koop.org. If you catch us mid-show, full episodes and other details can be found at library.austintexas.gov/volumes.